Hello everybody, my name is Gavin Wilson and I'm on the rugby team here at U of L, and today I'm going to be exploring a modified version of rugby that's more inclusive for people with limited capabilities or just special requirements, special adaptations that they're going to need to play the sport. The modifications that I designed for rugby with people with unique needs is sevens rugby, which is the version that's in the Olympics right now. So I had a teammate in high school that I played sevens with named Eddie, and Eddie was on the spectrum for autism. And using the FAM model that we use in class, I kind of wanted to go through him as an example with just different things that I could alter, that a team or program could alter, just to make sure that that version of the game is safe, fun, accessible, and still pretty authentic to the spirit of the sport. So with that in mind, someone like my friend Eddie, it was hard for him coordinating with other people on the team to do things. So when the ball goes out of bounds in rugby sevens, you do a line out, so two guys come together and lift someone up to get the ball back. That was something that he couldn't do, and I want to take that into account with everyone else. So when the ball goes out of bounds in my version, there are no scrums, no lineouts on dead balls. It's a tap and go only. So you just take the ball up from where it went out, and then whoever it was off of gives the ball to the other team, and then they just play from there. So we skip that extra step of where things might get caught in the weeds a little bit. And staying with what guys are capable of doing, with the FAM model determine current capabilities. If they are capable of tackling, if that's something that you feel is safe and constructive and everyone's comfortable with, then you can keep the tackling. As with people that are less capable, less able to make those things, that might be more dangerous, we can use flags just like football, and that's totally fine. I also suggested that the balls that we use are slightly smaller in this adapted version, just so that the handling and the passing is a little bit easier, because with someone like Eddie, once again, his hand-eye coordination wasn't quite up to par with everyone else's, which is completely okay, but it obviously made it a little bit harder for him to handle the ball, and we don't want that. So I think a smaller ball would be a lot better in this version of sevens rugby as well. And my final modification to sevens rugby to include people with specific disabilities, specifically autism, would be making the field length 70 meters instead of 100. It's just a lot of ground to cover. And once again, it all comes down to what are people individually capable of. If everyone's fine with playing 100 meters, that's totally great. If some people aren't going to do that, if it's going to be a lot harder, then we can shorten that field. It's just about accommodating what we can. Now I'm going to run through some of those examples that we talked about. The first modification that we're going to go over is the tap and go instead of the line out. So say that the other team just kicked the ball out. Instead of me coming together with someone to lift someone in the air to win a line out, we're just going to do a tap and go, which is as simple as it sounds. You take the ball off the mark, you tap it, and then you go. The second modification we're going to go over is tackling or using flags. So obviously, if everyone playing can get into like a nice tackle position, they can play that. Totally cool. If they can't, let's pretend that this is a flag. You just put it around someone's waist, and that's how you determine if someone was tackled, and then you can set the ruck from there. The third modification we talked about is a smaller ball. As you can see, these are pretty large. They're like a more ovular, larger football. Can be pretty hard to handle, quite large, you can see in the hand there. So a smaller one would definitely be beneficial. And that last modification we talked about was a shorter field. I don't have a field here today, unfortunately, but if you're playing on a shorter field, the passes are shorter, you run less, it's a much easier game. Say if I'm on a shorter field, my teammate's here instead of over there, it makes the game a lot easier, and I think that's something that would help the flow of the game for people with autism like my friend Eddie. So there you have it. Those are my adjustments for a more inclusive rugby game, in special consideration for people on the autism spectrum scale. And in regards to the FAM model, just understanding what that individual's capabilities are, where they're at. And obviously we talked about field length can be derived from that. We can talk about being able to tackle, things like that. Just starting with where someone is, like Eddie, and seeing what they're capable with and modifying to that. But I think this is a great outline or blueprint for a modified game of rugby that's more inclusive to a lot more players. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.